Good morning all. Welcome to the class of Direct Online Starter. Today we are going to learn about how Direct Online Starter works and also where to use it and when to use it. And not only that, we are also going to discuss the working principle of Direct Online Starter. And then we will go into a little bit of mathematical part, which are torque ratio equations of Direct Online Starter. So let me begin with that. So direct online starters. It is also called full voltage starter because it's a direct. You don't have anything in between the supply and the application. So it is a full voltage. Whatever voltage is there in the system, you are impressing the same voltage on the machine. That is why it is called full voltage starter. These are usually used for small squirrel cage motor, usually below 5 kilowatts, because the inrush current which is coming from the supply to the motor, it is not that high. So supply voltage, supply power systems can supply that current. So it's not like it's taking huge amount of current where other equipment in the line will get a voltage dip. So that's why it is specially said that we have to use this kind of method only for the motors which 5 kilowatt or less than 5 kilowatt, not more than that. Okay. So as you know, the starting current, which is also called inrush current in the motor, depends upon what the rotor resistance is. If the rotor resistance is high, then your starting current will be low. Remember torque speed curve. So this is torque speed curve. So motor starts from here. It takes up speed up to this part, and then it will go down over here in the torque side. This is torque, and this is speed. Okay, somewhere over here the motor is going to work at full load condition. So this time from here to here, this is called starting time. So if this time is more, then the resistance, the high resistance motor, if you have high resistance motor, what will happen is the amount of current passing through I square or the time required for this resistance to stay over here for long time will increase. So if this time increase, that means heat will be really high. So your motor will be hot. And another condition of motor being hot is that if your temperature rise, when if your rotor is designed for high resistance, and if your temperature rise also depends upon rotor design, and duration of start depending upon acceleration. That means if this period, acceleration period, is more, that means your temperatures are high. So which in turns happen. Why this happens? When you have high inertia load, if the load is of high inertia for your motor, then to bring this load to its natural speed, like running speed, you have to spend more time. So this time will be somewhere around 60 seconds, for example, compared to 30 seconds or 10 seconds. 10 seconds is good. So if the time increases from 10 seconds to 60 seconds, so the heat losses also increases. So your motor can get damaged very easily because you are also not getting the airflow, because when you are at full speed, say ns speed, near to ns speed, then your rpm can be 1450 rpm. So the airflow from the fan of the motor will be good inside the rotor and the stator. But if your speed is low, that means at the starting condition the speed is very low, it's from 0 speed to say 1000 rpm speed, the amount of airflow inside the circuit of the motor, air circuit of the motor, is less. So there is a good cause, that is a good cause of increasing the temperature. So these things which you have to take care when you design the motor. But coming to direct online starter, again I am reiterating that you should only use when the motor is below 5 kilowatts. Now let's see the working principle. This is the curve for the direct online starter. If you see, these are the supply R, Y and B, and this is up to here only, and then MMM are the connection which you should be connected to this point through this this connectors. So this, when you connect this to over here, this point, then your supply will go in this way directly to the motor. But initially they are all not in line. So what we will see step by step how to start a motor using direct online. So this is the starter which you can see. Okay, so now let's begin for the first step. What you are going to do is you are going to push this with your hand. So once you push this button, this will come short circuit. So then your supply will come from Y. Let us see in the animation how it looks like. So from Y, supply will start. So the current is going from Y and it will all the way go to S. and then it will also S2, S3, and then S1. Now, see the circuit, it is going from the start button and then to C and then back to R. So this is the supply current which is going. Now what happens is, at this point you are still pressing this button, you are not removing your hand from the button. So what happens is the coil C get activated. If you can see the blink, that is nothing but the coil C get activated, and once it get activated, the plunger moves to the left hand side and these connections will be short circuited. That means your supply is going from R, Y, B to M, which is supplied to the motor. Okay. So now what happens, after supply starts, you can easily remove your hand from the starter and the starter will go back to its original position. Now see the position of the direction of current. If you see the direction of current, it is straight away going from Y, same path again up to S2, S3, S1. But after S1, it is going to B and A from the connectors, so that this coil will be still active. If this coil is not active, that means the plunger will not be in place of short circuit condition. So this current will make sure the current is passing through C and the plunger are intact with the R, Y, B and M. So that current will flow through this motor and motor starts and keeps running as well. So for example, what happens sometimes, if you see some, if you are working near the motor and if you see there is a problem, so you have to manually stop the motor. What you do is, you press the S2 button. Now you are pressing S2 button. So what happens when you press S2 button, then the current flowing from Y to S2 only, there is no complete current path. The current path is broken. That's why what happened, the C coil which we initially saw becomes inactivated because there is no current through it. So when C coil is inactivated, the plunger will go back to its original position, which is open circuit. Okay, that is one scenario. Let us see the second scenario. In second scenario, what happens is the overload current, because your shaft is stuck with the load or some problem happens on the shaft. So it will take more current. So at that time what happens is, these coils over here, OLC coils, they get activated for the current, and then that will push up one of the connection D and that will become open circuit. Now again you can see that current can flow from Y, S2, S3, but it is disconnecting at D point. So the current is not flowing again through the coil C because it is broken circuit. So when current C coil is de-energized, then again the plunger will move backward. So again it's an open circuit. Now see the last condition, where you have you are sitting in the control room and you want to stop a motor. Over there you just press the button S3, which is going down. Now there is an open circuit over here, so current will not flow. Again the C coil is deactivated. Again the plunger will go back to its open circuit position. So these are various types of scenarios where you can control the supply to the three-phase induction motor through various start-stop buttons. Now let us come to the direct online equation, where you can see we already discussed about PC, which is the copper losses is equal to S into P2. Okay, P2 is nothing but the mechanical power output. Now what are copper losses? Rotor copper losses is equal to slip. S is slip into rotor input power. So P2 is the input power to the rotor. So now if you see, if you can write in the equation form, this is 3 into I2 square R2, because copper losses, S into T omega. Okay, that is the S is slip over here, and T omega is speed into angular rotation, torque into angular rotation is rotor input power. Now from these two above equation, if I take the ratio, like I am keeping torque over here and taking the S to the denominator, then torque is proportional to I2 square by S. And now we can say over here that secondary current is proportional to primary current, which is nothing but rotor current is proportional to stator current, and slip will stay as it is. So I can write I1 square by S as well. Now if I take the ratio at starting and at full load, so at starting, if you can, the slip is always equal to 1. I told you already in torque speed curve, we already said at start over here S equal to 1 and S equal to less than ns. Okay, so this value is somewhere the rotor S is over here. So speed of the rotor is less than ns. So this very small slip. Okay, but at starting the slip is 1. So if I substitute the value of slip equal to 1, this is this value, and this is slip is at full load slip, which will be around 0.02 or 0.04, something like that. Okay, so when I substitute the equation, kk get cancelled. Okay, and then you full load will be in denominator, ist in the numerator, and this slip FL will go to the numerator, and there is a square part. That's why the final equation becomes something like this: TST divided by TFL equal to IST by FL whole square dot SFL. So this is the way the direct online works, and also these are the torque equation of direct online starter. Thank you.